What's up, everybody? Grant Wise here. Welcome to our training today. I'm going to be teaching you how to convert more leads with remarketing. I'm excited about this training today because this is obviously an extremely hot topic. Everybody's trying to figure out how to get more sellers right now based on what's happening in the market. And I know without question, if you don't have sellers right now, like that old saying, you have to list to exist, is never more relevant than it is today. So my hope today is to show you a couple of strategies you can use, to get seller leads, because I know some people are curious about that. The second thing I want to show you how to do is how to create remarketing audiences so that when you have leads come in, you can start to remarket them. And then lastly, I want to show you a few different types of videos that you can create to convert a lot of those leads that they're coming in. So we're going to kind of walk through this a little bit systematically today. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Some of you may even think that some of this looks familiar, but I'm going to show you some cool examples today of how we're doing this in other people's businesses and how you can take it and replicate it. So I hope you get an immense amount of value from today's training. So let's dive into this. I'm going to share my screen with everybody. And I'm going to show you a little bit of an overview. So this is kind of a generic overview for what we talk about, building a client generation system in your business. We always talk about doing three things. We want to generate leads, build a brand, convert. That's the simplistic nature of building a client generation system in your business. And so it's really no different here from a just like an big picture outline standpoint. We want to generate leads, build a brand, and convert. So the first thing I'm going to show you how to do is put an ad in place that is more geared towards bringing you leads in general. And I'm going to show you how to create the remarketing audiences and then the video campaigns to pull seller leads out. Some of you may see the ad I'm about to show you and think, well, like that seems pretty standard to like maybe the homes list. Well, it is. You're going to see some of this and be like, well, I'm already doing that. I'm going to show you how to make some tweaks and modifications. The homes list is without question one of the most powerful strategies you can use when it comes to generating leads in general, because if somebody has a home to sell, they are going to be looking to relocate. Okay, so typically the first thing that they will start to evaluate is dream. New home, this home came up, that home came up. Everybody wants home first, home value second, mortgage third, real estate agent fourth. Like you guys are way down in the totem pole here, I understand. But nevertheless, we want to give people what they want. That is the secret to generating leads at mass scale, is you give people what you want, and then you let your marketing really kind of elevate or pull to the top the types of people that you're actually wanting to do business with. More specifically, your remarketing. So I'm going to show you an example of an ad that is for the homes list itself. This is not necessarily different, especially if you've been on some of my trainings in the past. You know that this ad campaign is pretty customary because we run it a lot. We run it a lot because it works a lot. It works everywhere that we implement this strategy. But if you're looking right here, you'll see the example of this ad campaign. So hot market alert, we've created a free list of homes near you under $300,000. These are some of the hottest listings right now. Obviously, this ad in any market is going to perform, especially today, because every single person that wants to sell their property wants to also buy a new property. They're going to be relocating. They want to know what is out there. And I would say even more so today, because people that are thinking about selling are a little gun shy because there may not be as much inventory. So people are paying a special attention to this marketing. It's going to allow you to generate leads. What will also generate leads at like literally 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents are listings that you actively have. If you have a listing, even if you only have it for 2 or 3 days because it sells so fast, you want to generate as many leads from that listing as you possibly can. I was welcoming somebody into our CMO program this morning. We were talking about this exact thing. When you have a listing, even if you know it's going to sell in a weekend, list Friday, open house Saturday, collect offers till Monday, you know it's going to sell. That's what's happening in the market. You want to use that listing to fill your database with more people that you can talk to and interact with. This ad right here, without question, is going to produce seller leads. The thing is, it's typically going to be about 52% of your lead base. Attention is the currency of sales, and a lot of people miss out on this. What we need to do, what we need to be thinking about is getting more attention, building media, owning attention. When you own attention, what that means is you have a database, names, email addresses, phone numbers, addresses. You have the media, the contact information of people that are interested in buying or selling property. Okay, that's a database, that's attention. That is media you own. If I walked into the real estate industry today as a producing agent, I would do nothing but market other people's listings. That's the only thing I would do. And I would build a database for pennies on the dollar into the thousands within a week or two, 3, whatever, month, whatever. I would own attention. The only thing I have to do now is take care of that database. And I could probably go off and build a multi-million-dollar company simply because now I have owned media. A lot of people get into this habit of thinking that, well, I have to do this special thing or that special thing or this special thing to make this stuff work. And at the end of the day, no, you don't. You just have to do the simple things really well. If we understand what people want when they are thinking about buying or selling property, the number one thing they want, homes to look at, homes to look at. If you don't believe me, go look at Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia. These companies prove this every single day. And for some people, they want to implement it. Well, I don't want buyers. Hey, look, bro, like not everybody that is a buyer doesn't mean that they don't have a listing to sell. Statistically speaking, 52% of leads generated have a property to sell. Lean into that. Don't run away from that. It's really important, especially when you consider that most lead listing specific ad campaigns cost per lead on a good day, $12 to $18. On a good day. Facebook ad, listing lead ad strategy, $12 to $18 on a good day. Now, fancy this. Homes list ad or a listing ad, average lead cost right now is between 50 cents and $3. Even if one of every 2 leads is a listing lead, at the worst case scenario, it's $6 a lead. It's still twice as good as those listing-oriented campaigns. That's not where you're going to win. Where you're going to win is in the relationship. It doesn't matter what the lead strategy is to get them into the database. And this is something that's really important to pay attention to. Relationship is what's going to win you the business. So when you get leads that come in, this is the Facebook ad that we would run to get leads, and we're doing it every day, printing leads in every market we're in. What you then want to do is you want to build a custom audience to remarket to those people. So if you go into the ads manager in Facebook, click here, and then go to audiences, what you'll then be able to do is create a lead form remarketing audience that would allow you to build a build an audience rather of people that have engaged with or filled out your lead form. So you'd click create audience, click custom audience, and then you want to select lead form, hit next, and then you want to find the right page so you're not marketing on the wrong page. So anybody who's opened the form, you're going to grab the form that you're using, last 90 days, name it. I'm going to put test audience. And then hit create audience. Now what that's going to allow you to do, if we go back to our blueprint here, is it's going to allow you to pull leads into the business. And then it's going to allow you to build a remarketing audience that you can start sending video content to. Now, if you use Whitley, there's a secondary way you can do this. When leads come in from Whitley, as you see like they are here, you can just click this little Facebook icon, and then you can select the ad account. I don't remember which ad account this is. 5850. You can select the ad account that those should go to, and then it will start to build that audience. And if there's something, it's like the terms and conditions need to be updated. And that's if there's an error, Facebook or Whitley will give you an error, and you just simply make the correction. But point is, create the remarketing audience, and then you can start to market your video content to these people. So now we're going to step into the video content element. So we've talked about the lead strategy, which is the lead form here. And then we talked about building a remarketing audience, which is simply just setting up the audience either in Facebook or in Whitley. And then we start to create the video campaigns. So if we go back into the ads manager, I'm going to pull up the remarketing campaigns. And today, one of the top ways to create, well, let me just go. These are the videos you need to create to build a remarketing sequence for sellers. So if we're looking at this like a sequence, like you would set up a drip email sequence or whatever, typically we want to start with some form of intro video. So it's literally 60 seconds to 3 minutes. It doesn't have to be very long. Who are you and why do you do what you do? You want to start to create a connection with the potential seller. And you want to start to call out some of these things. People are afraid of this, afraid to say, I help people sell property, removing the word buy. People are afraid to be very direct in their marketing because they think that they're limiting the options that they're going to have from a business standpoint. It's actually the opposite. By not calling out what it is that you do, by not being a specialist, you more so will limit some of the conversations that you are having. And I have a couple of chats that are coming in here, and I'm going to answer those questions near the end. But what we actually want to do is we actually want to be very direct in talking about working with sellers and what you do to sell houses and those different types of things. So if you're creating an intro video, similar to the video here, we actually want to call it out. We want to be direct. When we're talking about introducing ourselves to the people that we work with, we want to not be afraid to just be direct, say what you want to say. I primarily work with sellers, those different types of things. And that's what we're doing right here in this ad. We're talking about selling your home. Okay. So when a seller gets your list of homes available, which every seller is looking for right now, you're inexpensively pulling people into your database to create paid owned media. They start to see these remarketing campaigns from you. So when they go back to Facebook, they go back to Instagram, they go back to the internet, really, they're starting to build a relationship with you. Sorry. So the first video they should see is something that introduces them to who you are and why you do what you do. And I'm actually going to play this video. I think it should play. If you cannot hear the audio, I would love for you to say, hey, I can't hear it, and I won't play it, but you should be able to hear the audio. Let me know.
Can't hear it.
Okay, some of you said you can't hear it. Maybe because it's coming through my headphones. Sorry if you can't hear it. I will work with the team and we'll get these examples ready so we can share them with everybody if you want to hear the examples of what he's talking about. But essentially he's reiterating what his copy says. He's Parker. He's helped over 100 people, talking about the selling process. So the next video that I would create is a question that most sellers are asking. So if you look here, what we had Parker do, hey, list the top 2 or 3 questions that you're getting asked every day from sellers. This was one of those questions. What do you need to do to get your house ready to sell? This video is literally less than a minute, and all he's doing is answering the question. So when you're creating content that is for a specific purpose, to educate and to add value, what you want to do is you want to be direct, you want to answer a specific question, and you want it to be very relevant. Okay, so if you know that every day you're getting asked the same questions over and over and over and over and over, guess what? That means the new leads you're generating most likely have those exact same questions. So what we want to do is just take a couple minutes. Hey, last 90 days, what are the top 3 questions I've been asked? Question 1, question 2, question 3. Great. I know exactly what my videos are going to be about, right? We want to create video content that answers relevant questions. So when somebody comes to Facebook through a lead ad or something like that, or any other lead source, doesn't have to be Facebook if you're generating leads from other places. When they go back to Facebook and they pick up this device and they see you, They should be introduced to you, start to learn more about you, who you are, what you do, why you do it. Then they should start to get value from you. It's just you answering relevant questions. Parker's videos are with a cell phone. Okay, that doesn't, like, you can literally pull out your phone and do this. It doesn't all have to be professionally produced. And right now, the cell phone content is outproducing the other more professionally produced content. So answer relevant questions. That's all Parker did here, and he did an excellent job. And again, I'm going to try to work to make sure we get these video examples sent over for you because I think they're great. Next question: when should I sell my home? Simple question everybody's asking right now. Not, hey, now is the time to sell your home, because that's totally disingenuous. You don't know if it's the right time for somebody to sell their home. You know it's the right time because you need listings. Okay, we want to pay attention to that. And instead of saying, now's the time to sell your home, hey, now when should you sell your home? This is a question people are asking. When is the right time to sell? So he's saying the same thing. He's just doing it in a little bit of a different way by creating valuable content that answers the question he knows people have. Are you a homeowner curious about when then is the best time to sell your property? And then he answers that question. And then the last video is his top dollar video. So in this one, watch below to hear 2 things you need to know when you're trying to get top dollar for your property. And then he riffs right here for about 30 or 40 seconds, answers the question, answers it directly, answers a relevant question. And so the view rates in this video are going to be really good. Now, there is another video that we would recommend, and that's a testimonial. Okay, we live in a society that craves decisions. Wrong conversation. We live in a society that will not make decisions without reading reviews, right? Every time you guys think about buying our product or service, who before me has had this experience that I can talk to? Where can I go read where somebody's done, good work? Unfortunately, most agents don't create an experience where buyers and sellers can go do the same thing for them. So we want to make sure that our 4th or 5th piece of content that is a seller or somebody we've worked with that we've helped sell their property, sharing their story. If I was an agent today working in a market, I would have a videographer on staff, and that person would be following me around, creating mini documentaries of all of my sellers' experiences. Listing presentation, to getting the home ready, to selling the property, to being at the closing table. And we would package that up in little 1 to 2 minute videos that shared the experience that seller had, obviously with the seller saying some words about it. But those little bitty documentaries would be my greatest sales tools, because that's really all people want to know. They want to know that you are relatable, right? They want to create a connection with you. And they want to know that you're an authority on the topics that you're discussing, right? That you actually have experience, that you can help them do what you're talking about. And they want to know that somebody else can validate what you're saying. It's not just you talking about how good you are. It's somebody else that has an experience that they can share so that they can feel like, boom, I checked the box, validation. We need this third-party validation in our brains. There's been many Harvard studies done on sales and reviews. Third-party validation is one of the most important things that you must have in order for somebody to feel like they can sign off, like they can trust you. And so those pieces of content are the most relevant. Ads to generate listing leads, homes list. Give people what they want. Like, that's the easiest way to generate leads. And again, fact check for all the fact checkers. If you run listing ads to generate listing leads, you're typically going to pay $12 to $18 minimum. You could be 36, 50, 80. You could be way up there from a lead cost standpoint. Statistically speaking, 52% of people that want to buy a home also have a home to sell. If I pay $1 for my homes list lead, that's a buyer that also has a home to sell, guess what? I got my listing lead for $2. Okay, so I'm going to generate 4 or 5 listing leads for every single listing lead that you get. What we want to do is we want our content to pull the sellers out of the database that we are building. Then you got emails, you have text campaigns, you have call campaigns. There's other stuff that you can do. Right now, what I'm seeing is that video marketing, remarketing, is the secret weapon for everybody we work with. Whether it's buyer leads, seller leads, or it's recruiting, it doesn't matter. For me, Video remarketing is the secret weapon. What you want to do is you want to really intimately get to understand what it is that your customer is trying to do, what questions they're trying to answer. And if your content allows them to, in a self-guided way, answer those questions, guess what? You've positioned yourself to be more valuable than anybody else in the market that's harassing them with the phone, texting them nonstop, showing up at their house unannounced, right? You've just allowed them to have an incredible experience where they got to connect with you and they got to get value from you without, all those other things that people are really growing, a bad taste in their mouth for. So that's the strategy. It's the number one strategy I recommend, and it's the number one strategy I can say with great confidence in everybody's business we're working with is having success by pulling sellers out of that database just simply by using video content. Be personable and connect with people, answer relevant questions with your content, and provide social proof, testimonials, reviews of your work. It's the greatest sales experience you can create for somebody. So if you have questions, I would love to answer those questions right now. I got a couple of questions that have come in while I've been talking. And so I want to answer those questions. So Joseph, there is a zero missing the ad. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Do you have a list of videos we could create for this? Yes, we will make those lists available. We always as well have some of our other content guides. We'll make sure that we get those things sent out. Can the audience go back a year? Typically, it's tracking forward for a year. Excuse me, David. So if you're talking about how far back will the audience go, typically it's not going to go retroactive backwards a year. It's not going to do that, but it will start to track ahead for a year. And then when you talk about lead forms and stuff like that, it's going to go like 30, 60, 90 days. It's not going to go much longer than that. Can you show again as a recap visually how to find a Facebook campaign and turn it into a remarketed? Joe, are you asking me to show you how to build a remarketing audience? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I just want to see the steps again. You start from this Facebook campaign, then you go to the remarketing, how I get to the remarketing stage.
Are you talking about this overview right here?
No, I know the overview, but find the ad campaign, how to turn that into a remarket. Yeah.
Okay. So in here in the ads manager, you would go to audiences. And then once you got into audiences, you would create a custom audience. So we click custom audience. And then you can create a lead form remarketing audience. So as those leads came in from the lead form, Facebook would cookie those people, and then you identify the right page, and then you find the form, because you may have multiple lead forms. And then that's how you would create that lead form remarketing audience. That's just one way to do it. Does that answer your question, Joe? I can't see you if you were nodding your head.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I had my screen a certain way, so I couldn't see you. That's how you create the remarketing audience with a lead form. Again, there's multiple ways to do it. If you have a list in Whitley, you can do it just right in Whitley. So as leads come in, Whitley does it for you. There's video view audience. There's all types of audiences. But if you're in the back end of the ads manager and the audience section, you can do it here. So we are good there with that question. Thank you, Joseph. Do you also use these videos as part of a seller drip campaign, or do you create new content? Amanda, if you want, you can unmute yourself. Curious, are you talking about like in an email campaign?
Yes. Do you use these videos as part of a seller drip, or do you just strictly keep them to Facebook ads?
So typically, you can really do whatever you want with those videos. We're just using them as video remarketing campaigns, but I've seen people create them and send similar drips through like BombBomb, set up like a preset email drip campaign through BombBomb or something like that. There's really no wrong way. We want people to see us everywhere. So if that means we do it on Facebook and Instagram, and then we do it in email, and then we do it in text, there's a lot of great ways that you can use those video campaigns. And I would recommend that you do that if you have the bandwidth to set those things up. But you don't have to do those things. If typically the video remarketing is good enough, because most people are on social. Most people right now are ignoring the emails, not responding to text, and not answering the phone calls. So we know for a fact they're going back to social media nonstop as they're interacting throughout the day. And so that's why we're having so much success with remarketing, is because that's where people are. They're ignoring their more traditional forms of communication, and they're paying attention to the social platforms. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
So you have set up the remarket lead form in advance of the campaign, or can you find that info in the past campaign? Jody, you mind unmuting yourself again and asking? Are you saying now where do you find the audience once you've created it so you can target the new video ads?
No, so I'm saying if I'm going to have a retargeting and create that audience list, does it have to be at the time that I set up the ad campaign, or can I go back to an old ad campaign and have it show me who looked at that old ad campaign?
Yeah, I think that was in line with David's question about how far back will it go. And I'm not terribly familiar with how far back they would go. We usually set it up right when we're setting up the ad. So if you set up a lead form ad, typically you'll just want to, while you're doing it, create the lead form remarket audience so that it populates from that moment going forward.
Okay.
Or if you've built a funnel inside of Whitley so that leads come in, just click the Facebook button. So as they come in, it's auto managed. We don't typically tend to go backwards. So I honestly, I know you both were asking that question, but I don't know how far back it will go. It could go back and retroactively add every one of them to the audience because it is tracking their information. It may be able to do that, but we typically do it at the time of creating the lead form.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Does anybody else have any other questions? I would love to take a couple more minutes and answer those. The heart of what we teach you all is to build a client generation system in your business. Generate leads, build a brand, and convert. Those 3 steps: generate leads, build a brand, convert. And if you can get leads in your business and build a really big database, like I've said, throughout this training, that becomes media that you own. Okay, media that you own is so valuable. You have to think, the media that Facebook owns is what they're selling to you. You guys are paying for the media that they've owned. And so if you can start to use Facebook to generate media that you now own, you can email those people often, you can text those people often, you can call those people often, right? That becomes something you no longer have to pay for. Then when you start getting into the remarketing campaigns, again, the reason we're doing it is because it's working. It's one of the most relevant things you can do today because it's where people are. People are ignoring some of the traditional mediums and they're paying attention to some of the ads. Sometimes we will, put out an email campaign, and parallel to that, we'll launch a remarketing campaign targeted to the email list. In a lot of cases, the remarketing campaign does better than the email campaign simply because it's targeting people where they are. And I think it's really important to pay attention to those things. Nonetheless, the game has always been build media, own media, get attention. That's how some of the biggest companies in the world got there. And it's how they can continually do whatever it is that they want. It's how Apple can sell cars. It's how, any of these platforms can go out there and push agendas and so on and so forth. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying the game is always acquire attention, get attention. And so to me, it doesn't matter if I'm going to put out a listing ad to just generate listings, if it's the cost is 12, 15, 18, 20, whatever, versus getting leads for pennies on the dollar, knowing statistically most of them have properties to sell. I end up getting a multiple of leads for what you got one. That's more important to me because those people also know people that are going to sell. If I add value to that list and nurture those relationships, that has always been what people have told you. Go after your sphere of influence, add value, call, text, email those people, just create relationships. You got to think about it. If you got 50 people in your database and you're nurturing those relationships, doing a really good job, well, what happens if you get 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, 1,000, 5,000, right? That just continues to grow and expand, and so does your business. because you've gotten attention and you're staying relevant and you're staying in front of those people. So hopefully some great takeaways for you today. That would be my number one recommendation for getting listing leads today. Happens to be the exact thing we're doing every day in people's businesses, and they're having a ton of success. So I hope you'll take this, learn from it, and go off and implement it. Action's the game here. None of this knowledge matters. I appreciate you all for showing up, but at the end of the day, none of this information is relevant if you don't go off and actually put it in place. We'd love to help you do that if we can in any way, shape, or form. I appreciate you all so much. So have a good day. If you have any more questions, I'm going to be on for just a couple more minutes. I would love to answer those things for you. If not, peace. See you later. Hey, Joe. Yeah, if you had that many leads come in, we just want to make sure that even if you went in today and created the lead form audience, like from this moment forward, even if it didn't retroactively go, you'll still have the remarketing audience. So when you set up your video ad, you can target that remarketing audience. Does that make sense?
I'm not, maybe I'm not grasping it fully here, but so I went back through my Whitley campaign and saw that I had this campaign on buyer mistakes. And like you said, my goal was to find sellers, but I knew to go to buyers. I had 543 clicks. I didn't get that many leads.
Okay.
But,
so yeah, not the same thing.
I don't think I can find that group. I don't think I can go back and see who that was.
No, because when you got clicks to a site, it's a different action. It's not a lead, right? Oh. So another way that you can create a remarketing audience, Joe, is through page. What I would try to do, Joe, is I would try to create an audience for your Facebook page. So if you create this audience and then you go to the next page, let me find the right. So if you open up these options, everybody would engage with the page. So look, includes people who visited your page or have taken an action on a post or ad, such as reactions, shares, comments, link clicks, etc. So if we select that as the option, and then we name them tests, engage, whatever, and then create the audience, what it's going to do is anybody that's interacting with your page at all, it's going to start putting them into this audience. So even this audience is one we could start using to do remarketing to. This is actually what we do a lot of right now in the $1 a day strategy that we did some case studies on like 2 or 3 weeks ago. We're putting everybody that watches, engages with our page at all into a remarketing audience, and then we're pushing out more content to them or more call to action campaigns. So Joe, what I would do if I were you is I would go in your ads manager into the audience section and then create a page engagement custom audience. And then you can set up a video ad to remarket to the page engagement. And then they would still be getting those remarketed campaigns from you.
Okay, so I need to do that through the Facebook manager. It doesn't get me there through Whitley.
Currently, Whitley doesn't build the page audience and some of those other types of audiences. It just does it from the list itself. So even if you reached out to support, they would be more than happy to help you. Like tomorrow, if you showed up to a support call at 11, they would walk you through how to do it in your own ads manager. So it got done. We are working really, really aggressively in our back end to actually to give you the capability to build these audiences right in Whitley instead of having to go back into Facebook. So
yeah, I like that.
Support, they can help.
I've been doing it both ways, and I'm doing it more now through your campaigns. All right, thank you.
Good. Awesome. I hope you have a good day, Joe. All right, guys, I don't see any more questions. I have another meeting to get to. I appreciate you all so much. If we can do anything to help you, support you, please don't hesitate to let us know. See you guys.